That's what I get to wake up to. Yesterday was absolutely gorgeous. 60 degrees out, hot, was wearing shorts. Instead of fishing, I decided to do some cleanup. So me and my wife ended up picking up a bunch of brush and limbs and whatnot and started a fire. So this is the next morning. We had a blazing fire going on here. Hey, hon. Had a blazing fire going on. So today I decided to go fishing. And now look at the weather that I have. It's supposed to rain, it's cold, but hey, the fish don't care.
This journey started in the 60s, and I have fished from Alaska to Florida, hunted the Arctic for caribou, and combed the coastlines of Kodiak and the Aleutian Islands in search of meaning and purpose. These excursions exemplify a deeper understanding of success beyond that of just catching fish or bagging big game. They are about the chase and learning who you are. They are about exploring, appreciating, and respecting the vast expanses of our nation's forests, lakes, streams, rivers, and oceans, and finding our place in the universe. My name is Gene Quinney. These are my stories, this is my life, and these are my adventures.
So let me check out these rods. I put together a couple lighter steelhead bobber dogging rods because the ones I use for salmon are a little bit heavy. And so I've got two set up here, both with the same reels. These are the Okuma Epixer 40S. So both reels are exactly the same. These here, 40-pound high-vis Power Pro. This one's got you can see it's got a bead on it. This one's got a rubber worm. Everything else is pretty much the same. I've got a 20-foot top shot with my bobber dogging floats, and you can see the weights there that hang. So this one here is a little bit heavier rod. I use this one for salmon, but it's got the same size reel. And then of course this one's got that bead on it there. Those are going to be my 3 bobber dogging rods, but I'm going to focus on using the 2 lighter ones in case I catch a steelhead. You know, I want a little bit more action. My rods are a little bit heavy. You know, my salmon rods are a little bit heavy for steelhead. I've also got some loony coonies. And some dyed shrimp. I mixed up some red shrimp here. That's got some shrimp super gel, some ProCure super gel in there, and then some green. I've never caught a steelhead or a salmon on green unless it was a chum, but I'm gonna try it anyway. What the heck? So let me get these motors warmed up and we'll head on down. I'll see you down there. I think the water's flowing at probably 7,000, somewhere around there maybe. And as you can tell, I don't have my bow mount trolling motor up on the bow again. This time I purposefully left it at home. Last time I ran it, I got like 4 hours of continuous use out of the batteries that I have up in the bow. One of the batteries I have up there is from 2013, and the other battery I have up there is from 2017. This is 2025, do the math. And they're still running for 4 hours continuously with that trolling motor up there. So I don't want to run out of juice on the river. I don't mind running out of juice on a lake. I'm going to switch up here. Put this bead out there in this spot. So what I'm gonna do is I've done some research, and I'm gonna get a couple of lithium batteries and put them up there. Depending on the water level, I generally don't fish through this spot here. It's a little treacherous, as you can tell. But when the water's up this way, I don't worry about my motor hitting. Just got to stay away from the river pulling you into the corners. Okay, so I've got my two steelhead bobber dogging rods right here, and I've got a clear drift float with a steelhead jig and some shrimp on the end of it. Let me show you that. Got my bobber stopper set at about 5 feet on this, and a couple of split shot on this leader to keep it straight, and then a jig with some shrimp on it just for some flavor. And some super gel, shrimp super gel. Procure's super gel right there. That's almost empty. Okay. So anyhow, I'm gonna, through this slot down here, I'm gonna fish with this setup first, because it doesn't disturb many things, you know, because it's just drifting nice and quietly. Where the bobber dogging setup, you know, it's kind of bouncing on the bottom, you know, and kind of moving things around. And so I'm going to start off with this one, less invasive, in my opinion anyway. And of course you have to remember that everything I do out here is my opinion. And it might be right, it might be wrong, but it's my opinion. You know, I've said many times, if you watch a lot of my videos, or enough of my videos, that I'm not an expert. I'm not a, you know, a pro at any of this stuff. I'm just a guy that's been fishing for a long time. I like fishing. Catching is a totally different thing. Sometimes I'm successful, sometimes I'm not. That's just the way life goes. Not everybody, but some of you guys, you know, you get bent out of shape about the strangest things. Yeah, I'm gonna start over here. Well, I may as well float through here. Oh, no, it's too shallow. Oh, sorry. I got to get over here to this other side first. There's a gravel bar that runs right here. And I got to get over to the other side before I can start my drift. Whoa, see that? That's what I'm talking about. Dang it. Shoot. And I'm going to make mistakes just like that. I know the river. And I know that shallow spot right there, but I just miscalculated. And that's gonna happen. I make mistakes, I might misidentify something, might say something that's wrong, but guess what? I'm human. I don't act like I know everything. As a matter of fact, I know I don't. And I don't nitpick other people, although there's a lot of things to nitpick about, but I just keep my mouth shut. Because I learned a long time ago, my opinion is as important as I think it might be. It's not important to other people. One of the hardest things in life to learn is when to keep your mouth shut. Sometimes it takes people a long time to learn that. Sometimes people never learn. They think that their opinion is so important that everybody has to hear it. And I think that's the based on the due to the advent of the internet, where you face no consequences, you know, that you normally would, you know, with a face-to-face encounter with somebody. But that's what the internet has done. But hey, if not for the internet, I wouldn't be making these videos and you wouldn't be watching them, right? My dad told me a long time ago, you know, not to concern yourself with things that you can't change. And so that's kind of my philosophy. You know, if you say, behave, or do something, you know, that I might not agree with, I don't care. As long as it doesn't affect me. That's not what I wanted at all. At all. Come on. There we go. Won't run up into that shallow spot this time. Okay, we're gonna go with the single bead here. Right there. Okay. I think I'm gonna set my bobber stopper down a little deeper here. Come on. Now you may have noticed, and I think I've told you guys that I have a 20-foot top shot tied with a uniknot, a double uniknot, going to my braid, my main line. And then I have a bobber stopper that I can adjust it. A lot of times, depending on the water, I'll just run the bobber stopper all the way up to the knot, and then the float will just, or the presentation will be at the angle of the 20-foot top shot. But in more shallow water, depending on where I'm at, I'll change the height of the bobber stopper to change the angle of the line. Because the way the bobber dogging setup is meant to work is that, hold on a second, I gotta get the boat in the right position, is that depending on the length of your top shot and where you allow the bobber to stop, it changes the angle. It changes the angle. So if I have a 20-foot top shot and I'm fishing in 4 feet of water, the angle of the presentation is going to be really steep, and as it gets deeper, that 20-foot top shot is going to allow the bait, the presentation, to drop at a steeper angle but still remain in the strike zone. Hope that makes sense. You guys that have been around the Cowlitz River for a long time, well, actually not just the Cowlitz River, but around, you know, guides, will remember Phil Stevens, Mystical Legend Guide Service. The reason I set up my bobber dogging rigs this way is because this is how Phil showed me to do it. This is how he did it. The only difference is that he'd use pencil lead, not pencil lead, but stick weights, and then coat them with black heat shrink, so they a little more, you know, slippery on the rocks. But nonetheless, the reason I set up my bobber dogging rigs the way I do is because of Phil Stevens, Mystical Legend Guide Service. God rest his soul. And sometimes the world is just cruel. You know, good people leave us early, and bad people, you know, tend to live forever sometimes. Ooh, what was that? And dogs. Dogs are the same thing. Why would God make dogs' life so short? You know? I mean, they should, man, wouldn't it be nice if your dog could live as long as you do? I think so. I mean, I love my dog. My little dog, Ruger. He is just awesome. I don't think I've ever told you the story about Ruger. Forever, you know, me and my wife thought about getting a small dog, because we've had large dogs before, you know, labs and dogs like that, but, you know, this time around, after we lost Tracker, he was our last lab that we had, it was pretty devastating. He had a botched operation on removing a tumor, and what happened was he got an infection and ended up in the backyard on our hillside just sitting there in the rain because he just shut off, his body shut down. And so I put him down. And let me tell you something, that is not an easy thing to do. Putting your dog down, I mean, it's easy to take your dog to the vet and let them do it, but let me tell you something, when you do it yourself, my goodness, it's a lasting impression that you'll never forget in your entire life.